Do we live in a simulation?
I think we do. I think there is good evidence from physics, from quantum physics, from statistics, from history of humanity, all pointing in that direction. It's a virtual reality. It's a second life is the cheaper version imitation of the first life, right? So you have better graphics, better haptics, but same idea.
So you and I are just NPCs in the very advanced video game.
We are main characters. Yes, main character. That is much better. Nobody wants to be an NPC.
So what do you think? What defines someone as a main character or NPC in that digital world?
So I think having internal states, being conscious and being able to go outside of your script is an important part of it. We don't know how to test for consciousness, so I kind of have to assume that our people are probably conscious, given benefit of a doubt. But if they were what is called philosophical zombies, I would not know the difference. If they had a script where they go through the day doing the same thing over and over, that would be an NPC. It's not obvious and it's very hard to test. As I said, we don't know how to test for consciousness, but if you hear the same story from a guy 5 times in a row, maybe it's an NPC.
Can superintelligent AI help us hack the simulation, or is it not possible?
Well, it depends on the intellectual difference between our superintelligence and the one running this universe and whatever it is, a security-minded simulation or not. If it's not observed, maybe for entertainment purposes, it's a lot easier to hack versus if it's specifically prison-like simulation for hardcore criminals being rehabilitated. So it really depends. We don't know from inside what the purpose is. A lot of times when we talk about safety, we talk about boxing advanced AI. And so that's essentially a very similar concept. If it can escape from any virtual environment, virtual container we create, maybe we can use similar techniques to attempt on our virtual container. So if we are successful at figuring out how to control superintelligence, something I'm skeptical about, but let's say we manage that, then the value alignment problem becomes a little easier. Now we can implement certain sets of values, but now we're back to multi-agent optimization. How do we get 8 billion people to agree, to compromise? I don't want to compromise with you. Why would I want to do that? So you get your own universe. You can set any temperature you want in your bedroom. Not my problem. I have my universe. Everyone's happy. We're in those virtual worlds, which to us feel absolutely real. There is no loss of quality. In fact, what you can afford in a virtual world, you can never afford in a real one. Everyone gets waterfront properties. Can do it in the real world.
So like a advanced video game where it's like a real life, but it's a video game.
Exactly like what you experience right now. So if you wanted to try being a human in 2025 playing podcast host, that would be a game.
Yeah, I guess maybe that's how we also enter into simulations. No, it might be the case.
That's exactly it. If we learn to remove that part of memory where we enter the game, it becomes more realistic, more enjoyable. If you forget the fact that you're playing a game, that's the holy grail of virtual experiences. Maybe you desire to build, you just don't remember.
Right.
You want to collect experiences, collect quality. You want to try different things. You get bored being the same billionaire all the time. So you try, I'm a soldier, I'm a plumber. You try different things. So if you create virtual worlds which are very high fidelity, you can experience things you would not be able to experience otherwise. Maybe explore stars you cannot get to otherwise. Maybe, you can change time scales and experience more per unit of time outside the simulation. So you can map all the concepts in modern AI research onto theological concepts, and it works pretty well. Same problems, same challenges. We can learn a lot from their failures. I mean, there is hundreds of sub-branches of Christianity, different variations on Islam. It's obvious that you're going to have local culture added to it. But again, what's interesting to me is the story is God creates biological robots and fails to control them. And now he has to either wipe them out and start over or modify them. He tries giving them rules to follow, and none of that works.
Sometimes I think about these video games. They have always map limits. Yeah, if you step out of the map, game crashes and you have to start all over or something happens. So what do you think the limit of the map is in the simulation that we are reliving currently.
There seems to be some interesting side effects when we start looking at super small. So the quantum world gives us some properties which is, at least to us, different than what we experience at large scale of our actual world interactions. So you have simultaneous events, you have communication at large distances, which is instantaneous. You have observer effects where if no one's looking, nothing is rendered. So those things seem like they are the interesting part to pick at to see what is possible. Is there a physics engine which is different from the one generating our experiences and so on?
Like when the new video game comes along, it has a lot very nice graphics, but then 5 years later there is a new video game that's even more realistic. So if you run this every 5 years, at some point it's inevitable it will be same as reality, and then the question would come: what's the reality?
Maybe reality is actually a very low graphic, like 8-bit thing, and the real world is way better, way more defined, and you just never experience that richness of colors and sounds. I think an NPC would never have this concern about how to live their life. They have a script to begin with, right? If you're making those decisions, if you have some freedom in your outcomes, then you're already in that boat. If you are trying to figure out what is this universe is all about and what you should be doing with your life, you're not following a script. It could be that there's something in the middle. It doesn't have to be so binary. It could be a fuzzy spectrum of independence levels. Maybe you're like NPC level 2. You have some choices in your breakfast cereal, but not anything else.
Thank you for listening or watching. If you want to stay updated on future episodes, you can follow the show on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. Please also consider leaving a like on YouTube or a 5-star review on Spotify, as this helps the show reach a lot of people. You can also leave comments if you have any personal thoughts on the topics discussed during the episode. More conversations and solo episodes are on the way in the following weeks, and following the show is the best way to be notified about them. If you would like to reach out to me directly, you can DM me at philosophy.everyday on Instagram. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.